In the dawn of aerial warfare, one aircraft changed the rules of the sky almost overnight. The Fokker E.I Eindecker, its name whispered in fear and respect, ushered in a new era of air combat. This is the story of the monoplane that made the world's first true fighter pilot aces, and the brief, dramatic reign that shaped the future of military aviation. The Fokker E.I Eindecker, also known simply as the Fokker Eindecker or Fokker E.I, was a German single-seat fighter aircraft introduced in 1915. Designed and built by Fokker Flugzeugwerk, it was the world's first operational fighter equipped with a synchronized forward-firing machine gun, allowing pilots to aim their entire aircraft at the enemy. Entering service with German air units during World War I, the Eindecker quickly became infamous among Allied aviators, marking the beginning of what would be called the Fokker scourge. The Eindecker's story began with a challenge: how to turn the airplane from a reconnaissance tool into a weapon. In 1915, Dutch aviation pioneer Anthony Fokker and his team set out to solve the problem of firing a machine gun through a spinning propeller without destroying the blades. Their answer was the synchronization gear, a mechanical system that timed the firing of the gun to the rotation of the propeller. This innovation, combined with a simple, robust airframe, gave Germany a sudden and dramatic edge in the air war. The E.I was the first in a series of Eindecker fighters, each refining the concept, but it was the E.I that made the initial breakthrough. Its first flight occurred in 1915, and it entered frontline service almost immediately, transforming the air war over the Western Front. The Fokker E.I was a wire-braced monoplane, a rarity in an era dominated by biplanes. Its structure consisted of a lightweight frame covered in fabric, with a rotary piston engine mounted at the nose, driving a tractor propeller. The single-seat cockpit offered the pilot excellent forward visibility, crucial for aiming its synchronized machine gun. The Eindecker's wings were braced with wires, and its simple landing gear made it relatively easy to operate from rough airfields. Powered by a rotary engine producing around 80 horsepower, the E.I could reach speeds of up to 87 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of about 9,800 feet. Its climb rate and maneuverability were modest by later standards, but at the time, it was a formidable step forward. The Eindecker's defining feature was its armament, a single 7.92 mm Parabellum or Spandau machine gun, mounted directly in front of the pilot and synchronized to fire through the propeller arc. This system gave the pilot the unprecedented ability to aim the entire aircraft at a target, making dogfighting a deadly new art. The E.I's mission was interception and air superiority. Its primary targets were enemy reconnaissance planes and observation balloons. While its armament was light, the synchronized gun gave it a decisive advantage in the early air battles of World War I. The Eindecker's simplicity and reliability allowed German pilots to dominate the skies for a crucial period in 1915 and early 1916. The Fokker E.I entered service in 1915 with German air units such as the Fliegertruppen, later known as the Luftstreitkräfte. Its arrival marked the start of the Fokker scourge, a period when German pilots, flying Eindeckers, achieved air superiority over Allied forces. Notable aces like Max Immelmann and Oswald Bolk scored their first victories in the Eindecker, developing tactics that would define air combat for years to come. The E.I and its immediate successors were used primarily on the Western Front, intercepting enemy reconnaissance aircraft and protecting German ground forces. However, the rapid pace of aviation development meant that by mid-1916, the Eindecker was being outclassed by newer, faster, and more heavily armed Allied biplanes. The E.I was gradually withdrawn from frontline service as improved German fighters entered the fray. The Fokker E.I's greatest strength lay in its synchronized forward-firing gun, a revolutionary leap that redefined air combat. For the first time, a pilot could aim and shoot accurately while maneuvering, making offensive tactics possible. Its monoplane design gave the pilot a clear field of view, enhancing situational awareness. The Eindecker's simplicity made it relatively easy to fly and maintain, and its introduction forced both sides to rethink the role of aircraft in warfare. In the hands of skilled pilots, it was a deadly adversary, and for a brief period, it gave Germany uncontested control of the air. Despite its early successes, the Fokker E.I had significant limitations. Its speed and climb rate were modest, and its lightweight, fabric-covered structure made it vulnerable to damage. The single machine gun, while advanced for its time, was soon outmatched by the twin-gun setups of Allied fighters. As aviation technology advanced rapidly during World War I, the Eindecker's simple design was quickly surpassed by more powerful, agile biplanes. By late 1916, the E.I was obsolete, relegated to training roles or retired altogether as newer German fighters took its place. For historical context, the Fokker E.I Eindecker should be read as a product of a specific requirement, not as an isolated machine. It was built by Fokker Flugzeugwerk for Germany, with the intended role of early single-seat fighter with synchronized forward-firing machine gun. Its first flight is recorded as 1915, and its service entry is recorded as 1915 with German air units. Those dates matter because they place the aircraft inside the technology, doctrine, budget pressure, and threat assumptions of its era. The technical story also depends on how the airframe connected structure, propulsion, systems, and crew workload. Key recorded details include crew, one pilot, engine, rotary piston engine driving attractor propeller, structure, wire-braced monoplane with fabric covering, weapons, forward-firing synchronized machine gun, mission, interception and air superiority over reconnaissance aircraft. In practical terms, an aircraft is never just an engine or a wing. Range, speed, radar, sensors, targeting equipment, weapons, avionics, fuel capacity, maintenance access, and mission planning all decide whether the design can do useful work repeatedly. The operational record of the Fokker E.I Eindecker is tied to World War I. Those examples show how the aircraft performed away from brochures and test figures. Combat service, patrol work, reconnaissance, training, deterrence, and deployment tempo all reveal different truths. A design that looks strong on paper still depends on crews, spare parts, weather, basing, intelligence, rules of engagement, and the ability to return for another sortie. The main strength of the Fokker E.I Eindecker was introduced practical synchronized forward fire, changed air combat from observation defense into fighter tactics, simple monoplane layout gave clear pilot visibility. That strength did not mean perfection. It meant the aircraft gave commanders a useful answer to a real problem. The best way to judge it is to ask what mission it made easier, what earlier limitation it solved, and whether operators kept trusting it after the first years of service. The main weakness and limitation of the Fokker E.I Eindecker was limited speed and climb, light armament and fragile construction, rapidly surpassed by stronger biplane fighters. Its later status is best summarized as retired from frontline service as newer biplane fighters replaced it. Every military aircraft eventually needs newer sensors, newer missiles, changed budgets, aging structures, and different doctrine. That is why the final verdict has to balance reputation against evidence, what the aircraft promised, what it actually delivered, and what it cost to keep useful. A final practical point is sustainment. The Fokker E.I Eindecker required trained pilots, ground crews, inspections, spare parts, fuel, weapons handling, and mission planning before it could produce a useful sortie. That support system is part of the aircraft's real history. Performance figures explain what a machine might do once airborne, but readiness, repair time, training quality, safety margins, and upgrade paths explain whether an air arm could keep using it year after year. A second technical detail is pilot workload. The E.I pilot had to fly, search, aim, fire, clear gun stoppages, and navigate with little cockpit help. Because the gun pointed with the nose, every attack required coordinated throttle, pitch, rudder, and timing. That workload explains why the aircraft mattered most in trained hands. The synchronization gear created the opportunity, but skill converted it into operational effect. The Fokker E.I Eindecker's reign was brief, but its impact was profound. It was the world's first true fighter, introducing synchronized forward fire and transforming the nature of air warfare. Though quickly outpaced by newer designs, the Eindecker's legacy lives on in every fighter that followed. If you enjoyed this look at a pivotal moment in aviation history, subscribe for more in-depth documentaries on the aircraft that shaped our world. Thank you for watching.